Chicago is a city built by immigrants. From the steel mills to the skyline, it's a story of people who came here chasing something better. But today, that same city feels like it's under siege. Not from outsiders, but from the government itself. ICE agents move through the streets in silence. No badges, no warnings. They show up before sunrise when the city's still half asleep. One knock on the door, and a family's life could now change forever. The raids are quiet, but the fear is loud. In neighborhoods like Pilsen Little Village, people whisper about La Migra like it's a ghost. Always watching, always near. And now there's a new twist. Reports claim Mexican cartels are putting bounties on ICE agents. $50,000 for a hit. It sounds like fiction, but it's part of a story that's been real for far too long. A story where truth, fear, and politics all blur together. Chicago has always been a city of watchers. Cameras on every corner, sirens in the distance, someone always keeping score. But lately, the watchers have multiplied. ICE is tracking immigrants. Immigrants are tracking ICE. And social media, once a tool for community, has become a battlefield. Earlier this month, a Facebook group used to track ICE movements in Chicago was suddenly deleted after government pressure. Meta said it violated safety policies. Activists called it censorship. People weren't just sharing rumors, they were warning neighbors where raids were happening, which streets to avoid, and who had disappeared. For some, it was the only way to stay safe. And now, that voice is gone. In this new age of digital surveillance, the line between safety and silence is going harder to see. Why is there a helicopter right now while I'm recording, man? But Chicago isn't just living through an immigration crisis. It's living through an information war. Fear is powerful currency. It builds careers, it wins elections, and immigration has always been one of America's favorite tools for fear. Every few years, a new story emerges. Border chaos, immigration crime waves, threats to law enforcement. And each time, the response is the same. Tougher laws, bigger budgets, and less accountability. When DHS claims cartels are targeting ICE agents, that fear fuels the system. It justifies more surveillance, more raids, more funding for a system that rarely faces consequences. Meanwhile, the communities being policed become scapegoats, blamed for a crisis they didn't even create. And Chicago, with its history of segregation and corruption, becomes the perfect stage for it. A city where the poor, the immigrant, and the powerless always carry the weight of someone else's agenda. Ask ICE, and they'll say they're just doing their job. Ask the people living through it, and they'll tell you it feels like occupation. Families go days without opening the door. Kids stop going to school. People delete their social media accounts just to avoid being tracked. And it's not paranoia at all. It's survival. Because when you're undocumented, a single mistake can erase your entire life. Even sanctuary cities like Chicago aren't safe anymore. The local government says it protects immigrants, but cooperation with federal agency still happens quietly, behind closed doors. Every time a raid happens, it reinforces one message: you don't belong. And when fear becomes the foundation of policy, safety turns into control. A city that was built on immigration now feels like it's at war with it. What doesn't get talked about are the human costs, the psychological trauma that lingers. Children waking up to empty houses, parents who disappear without warning, neighbors who stop trusting each other. Even ICE agents carry the burden, many of them struggling with what their jobs have become. This isn't just about border laws. It's about what happens when a system values order more than people. Chicago is just one city in a much bigger story. A story of how America keeps breaking the very communities that built it. And while politicians argue about numbers, real lives are disappearing in the silence between statistics. So what is this really about? Is it about national security or national fear? About keeping people safe or keeping them quiet? Because every time a new threat is announced, every time a community is blamed, someone benefits. Power grows, budgets expand, and ordinary people lose just a little more freedom. The truth is, America's immigration system isn't broken. It's working exactly as designed, to control who gets to belong and who gets erased. Chicago just happens to be where the truth is impossible to ignore. And maybe that's why the story keeps repeating. Because as long as fear keeps working, no one has to fix what's broken. The one real question left is, when will we stop being afraid of the people who built this country?